Good morning and welcome to GC Tech Hub CS tutorials. Students, in today's class, we will be discussing about Unicode, which is the universal coding system. In the previous class, we had already studied about two coding systems, ASCII as well as ISCII, that is the Indian coding system. So today we will be learning about Unicode, which is the coding system which includes all the characters of all the languages of the world. So let's move on to today's class. So Unicode, it is the encoding scheme that could represent all the known language characters. The standard is maintained by the Unicode Consortium, and as of May 2019, the most recent version is the Unicode 12.1, which contains a repertoire of 1,37,994 characters. So you can just imagine how many characters are there. So these are the characters which include this is the number which includes all the characters related to all the languages of the world, consisting of 1,37,766 graphic characters, 163 format characters, and 65 control characters, covering 150 modern and historic scripts as well as multiple symbol sets and emoji. So you can figure out that it contains scripts of almost all major world languages, formatting characters, symbols as well as emoticons. So you can just see the Unicode uh, from here. These are known as Unicode planes and code point ranges used. So planes means because Unicode is a encoding scheme which includes a huge collection of characters. So they are usually divided into different categories, where we have the first one, that is basic multilingual plane, supplementary multilingual plane, supplementary ideographic plane, which is basically for Chinese characters, which are pictographic characters. So we'll just see them. For Unicode, the relevant code space is the range of integers from 0 into 0. This is actually the hexadecimal representation for 0, the decimal number 0. And this is the last point, that is around 1,114,112 code points. So these many code points are there, that is we can use these code points for representing these many characters. Now code point means, when we talk about a code point, it can be used to represent one character. So not all of these code points are available for encoding visible characters. Some, for example, are assigned to control codes like carriage return. So it's like these code points are the total code points which are available, that is which could be used to represent certain characters. But not all characters are printable characters. Some are non-printable characters also. The Unicode code space is divided into 17 planes numbered 0 to 16, as you can see here. So this is what you can see. These are the different planes right now. Plane 1 is over here, which I already showed you. Plane 2, plane 3, 4 to 13 are unassigned. That is, this block is not assigned to any character, which could be used in future if any new language is developed. And plane 14 is there, and plane 15 and 16 is there. So we can see Unicode. Here we can see there are different, the various world languages are represented using different color codes. So this is a map of the basic multilingual plane. Each numbered box represents 256 code points. So here you can see so many different types of scripts are there. Encoding terminology. We will be learning about the encoding scheme, what is a code space, what is code point, and what is code unit. So encoding scheme is a predefined way for converting information. That is, whatever character we have to convert it into a specific code, and that way of coding, that method of coding is known as encoding scheme. Character by character in a machine intelligible code. Some character set may be represented through different encoding schemes. Code space refers to all the codes that an encoding scheme uses to represent characters. That is, in case of Unicode, 1,114,112 different code points are there. So all these points together make up the code space for Unicode. Similarly, there are 256 code points for extended ASCII. So 256 total code points make up the code space for extended ASCII. ASCII has a code space and simple ASCII has a code space from 0 to 127. Unicode has a code space from 0 to 1,114,112. Code point. Now, code point refers to one code, a code from a code space that represents a single character from the character set represented by an encoding scheme. For example, if I take capital A in ASCII, it has the code point as 65. Example, in ASCII, now this thing is represented in hexadecimal like this. So this is one code point. The hexadecimal number 4A is one code point of ASCII that represents the character J. Latin character, this is a Latin character and its code point in Unicode is this. Usually Unicode characters are represented by this format, that is U plus and the number in hexadecimal notation. Then this is also another phonetic character A and it is represented by this code point. Y has this code point and at the rate symbol has this code point. So likewise, all the characters which you see in Unicode, they have their own code points. So let me just show that to you. Unicodetable.com, where you can see various Unicode characters being specified in the form of different categories. Basic Latin, which usually consists of our English alphabets, Latin 1 supplement, extended, then you can see Greek and Coptic, Cyrillic, Armenian, Hebrew, Arabic. Then you will also find Gujarati, Indian languages, Bengali, Devanagari, Oriya, Tamil, and you will find Thai, Sinhala, Tibetan, and you'll also find various languages of the world. So I'm just going to click on any of the first one, that is basic Latin, so you will be able to see how it is represented. This is the range of characters here, range of code points which is given. What number of characters in this category is 128. As you can see from here, these all are non-printable characters, that is control characters, which are basically used for controlling the display of text, like start of heading, horizontal tab, then carriage return. So these all are non-printable characters. Coming down, you see punctuation symbols and each of them has their own code points, as you can see over here. That is, the dollar sign has the code point U plus hexadecimal 24. And then you have all the ASCII digits and all the ASCII characters are included within Unicode. Then you have the basic uppercase Latin alphabet, that is our English alphabet. Then we come down and we have ASCII punctuation symbols, lowercase alphabets. Then we come to some other types of characters, like let's take Hebrew, and you'll find Hebrew characters over here. So these are Hebrew characters, as you can see, points and punctuations. These are Hebrew characters. Then I'm going to just find out about some Chinese characters. which are usually ideographic characters. I'm just looking for them. So here we find some Chinese characters, CJ, which are known as CJK unified ideographs. You can see it over here. Beautiful characters with their code points. So you can use any of them. Then we also have, I'm going to look for some hiragana and katakana characters, which are usually Japanese characters. So these, I'll tell you one interesting fact about these Chinese characters. They have been adopted by some of the Asian cultures, and now they are lakhs in numbers. Around 3 lakhs such characters are there in out of which a few are represented over here in the Unicode in the Unicode coding scheme, and some 2800, some 2800 characters are have been used, have been borrowed by the Japanese, and they have named it as kanji characters. So Japanese basically use a combination of kanji characters, hiragana and katakana. So I'll be just showing that to you. So these are hiragana characters. You might have seen this in various Japanese animes and some manga which are there. The Japanese comics, you might have seen that these type of characters are usually used there. And these are katakana characters. So there are various types of characters. Then we'll find uh, some more, that is like Arabic presentation. I'm just showing this to you so that you understand that Unicode characters are those which involves all the various codes of the world. So that's all in this. So So these are the various Unicode characters which you saw, and each character, I mean, any language of the world can be represented using Unicode characters, and each character has its Unicode code point, which is generally represented by U plus and followed by a hexadecimal number. Code unit, units of storage, number of bits used to represent one encoded code point. UTF-8 code encoding scheme uses 8 bits units to represent characters. It is a variable length scheme. Some, some Unicode encoding schemes are UTF-8, UTF-16, UTF-32, where UTF-8 is the most popular encoding scheme with almost 94% websites and applications using it. So why the UTF-8 coding format? This is in order to store, to be able to, because we know that computer understands the binary language. So to whenever we want to use any of those symbols or characters, the computer has to have some way of storing it in binary format. So this particular transformation format or encoding format is used to store these characters. So we will see how this kind of an encoding is done for the characters. UTF-8 is a variable width encoding that can represent every character in Unicode character set. It can encode each of these 1 million plus code points. The code unit of UTF-8 is 8 bits called an octet. That is a collection of 8 bits which is known as an octet. UTF-8 can use 1 to max 6 octets to represent code points depending on their size, although till now it has used up to 4 octets to represent any characters. We'll start with the simplest one, that is UTF-8 one octet, which is a collection of 8 bits, as you can see, where the 0 bit is a control bit which stores 0, and rest 7 bits can be used for storing the actual data. So how are we going to do it? So we'll start with these examples. So we have an example here, y, the character y, which has the code point u plus 0059. So let's try to represent this. We will represent this using UTF-8 encoding format, using one octet, that is 8 bits. So we are going to first create the octet. So this 0 is a control bit, so it will already be there. So I'm just going to shade it a little bit so that we understand that this space cannot be used for storing any actual data. Now about the code point which we have over here. So this is the code point, that is 59. Now this 59 is a base 16 number, that is its hexadecimal number, which has to be first converted into the binary format. So how do we convert a hexadecimal number to binary? We had already studied that. Just represent each character, each hexadecimal character in the form of 4 binary digits, that is 4 bits. So here we know that 5 has the binary representation 101. So it is represented using 0101, and 9 is 1001. Now we find a total of 8 bits over here, as you can see. Out of which this 0 can be left out. We don't need this 0, because anything before any number, if 0 is prefixed before any number, it means it just gives us the number itself. So it will be using maximum of 7 bits over here. So now the bits are these. So we start placing these bits from the right hand side. So 1 goes over here. So this is 1. Then this 0 has to be written here. 1, 1, 0 and 1. So this is how the letter Y is represented using UTF-8 one octet coding format. Let's take another example. So the next example is the symbol @ which has the code point 0040. Let's first represent 40 in the form of binary. So that will be 0100 and 0000 for 0. So here also we don't need the 0, we need 7 bits over here. So let's first write the octet, where this 0 is the control bit, and now we start writing the code from here. So this is how @ is represented in UTF-8 one octet format. Likewise, you can also solve other examples. Next is UTF-8 two octet, that is 16 bits. What about those characters which have larger hexadecimal numbers, and hence they have more bits? So for that we require 2 octets to represent the character. So first octet is this, which contains 3 control bits 110, and the second one contains 1 and 0. So let us first see what example we can write. Let's take the Latin character and its code point is U plus 01B8. So we are now going to see UTF-8 2 octet representation, that is 16 bits. Which is this, and is the Latin character, and its UTF representation is U plus 01B8. So it is 1, B and 8. So let us first represent it. Now B is 11, which is 1011. So here also I can remove these three zeros from here. Let us first count. So this is taking more than 7 bits, because in case of UTF-8 we know that it takes up 7 bits. So here the number of bits is 9. So obviously we cannot use 1 octet UTF-8 to represent. We need 2 octets. So in 2 octets we know that the number is represented this way, where we have 110 as the control bits, and rest 5 places are fixed for your data. So here I'm just going to shade these as control bits, and we have 5 bits for data, and we have the next octet, that is which contains 2 control bits, 1 and 0. And it contains 6 more places to store the data. So we now have this number over here. So we start from this point 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. That is 6 bits are already represented in this octet. Now rest will be represented here 0, 1, 1. And here we can fill the rest of the positions with 0. So you can see 2 octet representation over here. Next is the character A. It is somewhat like this, which sounds A. It looks like a combination of A and E, which is a phonetic symbol, and this is phonetic means a symbol which represents a sound, and that sound is A. So here its Unicode code point is U plus 00C6. And now let us try to represent this number. We have C6 over here. So C is 10, 11 and 12. So it has 1100 as its binary representation. So we write it as 1000110. Now here there are a total of 8 bits, which is more than the first octet, which can accept only 7 code points. Sorry, 7 bits. So we will again use the second octet, the 2 octet representation. So here we are. So now we will start from this side. We will be writing the number here 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and these two ones will come over here and rest of the spaces will be filled with 0. So this is the 2 octet UTF-8 representation. Now we will do UTF-8 3 octet representation, that is 32 bits. Sorry. Now we will do the UTF-8 3 octet, that is 24 bits representation, which you can see over here. The first one has 4 control bits, rest 2 have 2 control bits each. Coming to the example, we have a Cyrillic character over here whose code point is 0416. So we will be doing the UTF-8 24 bits, that is 3 octet representation, and we are taking a Cyrillic character, and that character is somewhat like this. Now it's difficult to write that character because we don't use that language, but still I'll try to write it. Somewhat looks like this, a kind of a runic symbol, and its representation is 0 plus 0416. Now let us write 416 like this and try to represent it in binary. And we have this number here. So this is our number, and let's count the number of digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 digits. So of course one octet is not sufficient to represent this. Let us take the case of the second octet. In case of the second one, we had a total of 6 plus 5, that is 11 positions to store the characters. So I think this Cyrillic character can still be fit within 2 octet. Let's try to do that. So the 2 octet one is usually like this. So we start from here. So here we can see that we didn't require 24 bits or 3 octet. It was done within 2 octet only. So we will try to use some other example. Let's take the next one, the Bengali character over here. So let's try to represent this one. It is U plus 0988. So we'll represent this one. So this is the representation. Let us write it 1001, 1000, 1000. So we have 8 plus 4, that is total of 12 characters. So this will definitely require 3 octet because it is even more than 11 octets, which was sufficient to represent 2 octet. So this is the way in which we will be representing it. The first octet will have 4 control bits, as you can see. So only 4 bits for representing the data, and rest will have 2. That is 6 points for represent 6 spaces for representing data bits. So now we start from this point. So again we can see the thing over here is, had we taken 2 octets, now already it contains a total of 12 bits. Whereas in case of 2 octets, we only have 11 positions left for representing bits. So if we had tried to represent it here, so this one was left out because of the control bits representation. Hence, in order to accommodate this one, we had to use the 3 octet form, and rest of these, the first octet over here had to be filled with additional zeros just to make room for this one bit. So this type of situation may also arise. Let's move on to the next one, the last one, that is we have a number of characters over here. Let's try to use represent this hiragana character, and so we'll first try to represent this hiragana character over here. Let's see if I can write this character. So it looks like this, something like this. Yes, I could write it. So I'm quite lucky to have written something in a foreign language, and its code point is U plus 304A. Let's write represent it. A is 10, so it is 1010. So the number is these two zeros can be left out or ignored. Let's count the bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have a total of 14 bits over here, which is obviously it would require 3 octet. So let us first create those octets here. So now we'll start writing the bits from here. And 2 bits over here. These 2 spaces are to be filled with zeros. So this was the hiragana character which we used. Next is a katakana character. Something like this. Yes. And it is U plus 30AB. It is the letter Ka. This one. It sounds as Ka. And the previous one sounds as letter O. So Japanese people, they basically use a combination of Chinese characters which are known as kanji in Japanese, and combination of those kanji characters, katakana and hiragana characters. And you know they have to learn around 46 plus 46 hiragana and katakana characters, because each of them has 46 alphabets. So 46 those 46 hiragana plus 46 katakana plus some 2860 something kanji characters they have to learn, and all their communication is done using that. Isn't it amazing? We just have to learn some 26 English alphabets and still we lack at it, but they are learning so many different characters. Just amazing. Now it's B, that is 11. So 1011. So here again we can ignore these two zeros and it can be represented as 11 0 1 0 1 0 1 1. And obviously I'm not counting the number of bits now because I know they will be used represented using 3 octet only. So we start from here. And two zeros are to be added over here. Next is a Korean Hangul character and it is the letter V. So let's use this. It is something like this. Yes, I've been able to write it properly. So U plus 315E. So let's write 315E. So E is the representation for 14, which is 1110. So the number is 1. So we started from here. So again, it is taking up 3 octets. So I believe now that we have done 3 of them, you would be able to represent these two on your own. So these two I leave as an exercise. This is the CJK ideograph, that is it's a Chinese character now and its code point is this. Then again another Chinese character we have and its code point is this. So I believe these two characters you can now represent it yourself. Next is UTF-8 4 octet, that is 32-bit representation. So here you can see there are 4 octets over here. The first one has 4 ones and 1 0 and the rest have 1 0 as the control bit. So maybe we'll try to represent these two characters. Maybe they are the ones which would require 4 octets. So let's start with this ideograph character over here. Now these Chinese characters, they require strokes. There is a particular way in which you have to make these strokes work. And just imagine learning lakhs of such symbols every year. It would be so cumbersome. Sorry, I made this wrong. It is like this. Somewhat looks like a house or something. So basically this is for, I had learned somewhere that this is a symbol which represents mind. Something under something, a roof is there, and beneath the roof there is this kind of an arrangement or an apparatus which represents a mind symbol. So let's see, 3479 is the code point. So we'll take, let's count how many will it require. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. It requires a total of 14 characters. Here it is 6 plus 6, that is 12 13 14 15 16. So it can also be represented again using 3 octets. So this you can do on your own, and this one also I believe you can do it on your own. Let us try to look for something which would require 4 octets. I have these two symbols over here. Let's try to represent them. So I'm going to take this one. As you can see, this is a Greek symbol, Greek acrophonic Stratian 50 MNS. So its code point is this. So I'm going to just copy the code point and paste it over here. First, let us write its binary representation. Then 0001 for 1, this is 7, and this is 4. Now first of all, let us try to represent this using UTF-8 3 octet representation, that is 24 bits. So we will first create it. So this will be first 4 bits. So we start from this side, 0 0 1 0. Then we have 1 1 1 0. Then we have 1, and we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 7 zeros. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 zeros, and this one is left out. So for this one we cannot represent it using UTF-3. We have to represent it in UTF-8 4 octet representation, that is 32-bit representation, which will be like this. So we'll first write the number. We can exclude the first 3 zeros over here. I hope I've written this correctly. So now we start from this side. So 0 0 1, then 0 1 1 1. So till here we have done. Then 0 1, that is this. Then the total of 7 zeros, 1 2 3 4 5, 6, 7, and then this 1 over here, and rest of the spaces have to be filled with zeros just in order to accommodate this 1. So this is UTF-8 32-bit representation. There is one more example, that is the Greek gamma sign. So we will take this one and try to represent this. Its representation is, this is 0, this is 1, and these are 8. So let's start from here. So we have 4 octets. Let's start from this side. 0, 0, 0, 1. Then again 0, 0, 0, 1. So till here we have completed. Now we write this one, and then we have a total of 7 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So till here we have completed. Then we have this one, and the 3 zeros are to be written over here. So it's again the same thing. We need to accommodate this one, and hence we have to extend one octet more. So this is UTF-8 4 octet, that is 32-bit representation. So as we move down, as we go down in this Unicode table, we will find that there are characters which need even more symbols. So it is something like this. We have a lot many characters over here. Let's try to figure out something else. As long as it's 1 in the end, we won't find anything. So here we find something, CJK unified ideograph. So let us take a random symbol from here and try to represent this. Maybe it's quite possible that we might require another octet. Here also we won't be requiring any octet, because I mean, like here also we would be having zeros only, because we have 3 over here. That is, if I take anything like this code point, if I take it, it's usually a code point which is not used. Suppose I just go to the end of this table and try to extract one code point. Okay, maybe there is one more which I found out, and let's try to use that. So this is a private use area, and we don't know what these characters are used for. So let's try to take any random character from here. it's an undefined area. That is, this particular place is blank. It can be used in future if any new language is developed or a set of characters is developed. So let's just take its Unicode code and try to represent it using UTF-8. So its representation is this, that is 0001, 0000, that is for the zeros, then again 1, then 6 is there, and F, that is 1111. So here let us first represent all of them. Okay, so we start from this side, 1111. So this is done. Then 01101. So this is done. Now we have 1 2 3 7 8 9 10 11 zeros. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, and this one is also there. So this is one code point which is fully occupying all the four octets, as you can see. So this will happen only when we move downwards in our Unicode table. So as we move farther towards the last supplements of the Unicode table, we would find such characters which require four octets. So students, that was all in today's class. In our next lecture, we will be understanding how to, uh, we would be taking a few more questions from this chapter and we would be solving them. Thank you.